I think we have said enough on that, and that is it. Let's move to the next topic. Yes, I think it was Shegun who forwarded this article to me. When I read the news article, I looked at it. Oh, Shegun has disappeared. His network, maybe. Anyway, yeah, he was the one who forwarded it to me. I don't know if I forwarded it to you, but did I forward? Yeah, I think I did. I forwarded the article to you, sort of. So it's about this LGBTQ. Nigeria is gradually inching towards legalizing it. I know what we have right now is just an informal way of, but the truth is, we all know how this whole thing happens. The moment you hear of such rumor, and some of these rumors are not even rumor anymore, written agreements in this regard, you should know that so many water has passed through the bridge. You know how Nigeria operates. The moment you hear something that something filters to the public, you know that that thing has been established in the background, especially when it has to do with something that doesn't go well, that wouldn't go well with the public. It's been established already. Now, the truth is, while this is not, because getting this to be a law in Nigeria, Barrister, I understand, of course, you as a lawyer, you may guide us into this in detail. But common sense, I think, common sense, a man with a common sense should know that this thing has to pass through national. I think they tried during Jonathan regime to pass it through national, and the thing didn't even take off. Not to talk of landing. They didn't even allow it to take off, sort of. So this is our background. I don't even know why. Now, we should remember, they tried it on Kenya. Kenya rejected it. I remember when, I think it was during his last days as a president, by Obama traveled to his country, I think he traveled to Kenya, and we know what happened. He publicly tried to do that, and publicly, Uhuru Kenyatta was the president then. He publicly, in fact, to me, I saw that as an embarrassment. He really embarrassed Obama because he rejected it publicly. And Uhuru said that is the list of our priorities as a country. That is the list of the things we need to take care of. Now, we have other pressing issues that go far beyond legalizing LGBTQ matter. So, and we also know what happened with what's this called, Uganda. Because of that, Uganda, they now placed sanction on Uganda because the president came out very, very aggressively against it, because it is not our root. This is not who we are. We are Africans, for God's sake. I don't know, like I said, I don't know why Nigeria is always taking first in negativity. We are the big brother in Africa, the biggest of all the brothers in Africa. But we seem to be the weakest among the African countries. We don't know how to resist the West. Look at a country like Burkina Faso resisting the West, for God's sake. Look at a country like Niger resisting the West. Look at a country like Mali resisting. These are countries that are far, far, far beneath Nigeria when it comes to economic power. Far, far, far beneath Nigeria. Yet they are the ones calling the bluff of the West. And they are succeeding in it. Some of them have succeeded, some of them are succeeding. Kenya is on the path right now towards that direction as well, because the people are taking their destinies in their hands to do the needful. I don't even know why we are always behind when it comes to positive achievements in Africa. This is so sad. It is so sad because we have everything that it takes to not only be the #1 in Africa in all manner of positivity, but to also be among the best in the world. We have all the resources, human, capital, natural resources. We have all it takes to actually put us on the global map of important countries. That is the point. Shegun, can you please, is this, no, okay. Yeah, let's start with Shegun. What is your, of course, you, I think it were you the one who, yeah, you were the one who, it was from you I saw this article first, and it became a public stuff, became an online sensation, whatever, it became something that everybody was talking about, a sort of. We are, as I said, our background, anyway, I'll come to that. Can I hear what, Shegun, can you talk about this? What's your thought on this?
Sorry, I didn't quite get your question. So probably just lay the question again. I didn't quite get your question.
Yeah, it's about the LGBTQ that the government has gone into. The agreement, even though the agreement does not apply to law, it's not applicable by law. It has to pass through national, but that is how it begins. Usually government, we all know Nigeria, they will throw in this to now see how we first of all start, if we can tolerate the minor part of it, it eventually get to the point where they sell it to the larger population, especially National Assembly, sell it to the larger people, members, to be able to shove it through the National Assembly and send it to the president to, trust me, I've said it before, they have everything against Tinubu to force him to actually, we all know today's National Assembly are, the members there are at his whims and caprices. They are at his beck and honestly, I've not seen a National Assembly that is so controlling by the president as this National Assembly. Honestly, that man is in total control of especially the leadership of the National Assembly. So you guys should understand that forcing this bill through the National Assembly wouldn't be a difficult challenge to Tinubu. And that is the West. And this is one of the reasons why the West are backing him up. They know that he's weak. He's weak in the sense that they have dossiers against him that they use to blackmail him, to force him into implementing their own selfish policies. So what is your take on this issue?
All right, my take on it will be clearly, and it is one. I've read an excerpt somewhere where it was stated that it is against our law. Even the, I think it was the Secretary to the Federal Government, yes, if I'm not mistaken, who stated clearly that our laws does not permit such, and our laws are clearly states that we don't admit to this form of activity. I would expect, like some bodies are beginning to gear up to picket the National Assembly to insist that once that bill, particularly once that idea is brought before the National Assembly, it should not be signed. You know, I'm aware that a couple of them are beginning to lobby the senators, saying that, look, in as much as we need these monies to help boost the economy and everything, it should not be passed, because if this LGBTQ thing is going to be practiced in Nigeria, which is against our laws, then it will mean that we're becoming very desperate. I would expect that in the coming days, more pressure will be put on the federal government to drop this particular fund and ensure that we stay within the rules of engagement. So, just like you said, because we have a very terrible National Assembly, but of course, if people, they can pass anything at any time to please the president. But if the bodies that are concerned put pressure on them, like they are planning to do, they are already doing that underground, and they've said they would have no cause, they would have no cause to fear if the bill is being pushed further than as it is now, because what they're trying to do is actually kill it before it's even mentioned on the floor of the National Assembly at all. So let's hopefully hope that whatever it is that they are doing underground will yield some fruit. And at the end of the day, it will not see any day of, light of day, because it is against our rule. It is against all form of sensibility. These are part of the things that have been dumped on us to control our minds. I don't understand the reason why this should be part of the things we should swallow, because it clearly shows that we are not in control of anything at all when we accept any form of condition just for us to have some money to spend. And at the end of the day, this money will not even be spent properly. It will be embezzled. It will be looted. So I don't see any reason why I don't see this flying anyway, because from what I've gathered underground, there's pressure on the National Assembly to reject that particular loan, except of course the government can clearly state that it has nothing to do in relation to LGBT, which of course clearly is stated in documents that we have seen are signed by this put forward, especially by this body that is going to give us this loan. So let us hope that at the end of the day, sensible reason will prevail. Then at the end of the day, it will be dropped.
Yeah, Barrister.
Yes, you know, this agreement, the Samoa agreement was signed back in November 2023. At that time, Nigeria rejected the agreement, refused to sign it. In fact, Nigeria did not even show up in the island of Samoa after a Pacific island of Samoa where the agreement was first signed. This agreement is between the EU. It's a sort of partnership between the EU, African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries. And there are provisions in it that oblige the signatory countries to promote or legalize the LGBTQ groups. So at the initial stage, Nigeria rejected it and refused to sign. The question is why now? The government has come out now to consider, yes, they have signed this agreement. And they are trying to make some excuses. Some of them are saying that, well, nobody is going to force somebody to be an LGBT person. But the issue is Nigeria and all third world countries have been under intense pressure for a long time by America and EU countries to export this brand of their decadence, all this decadent activity that is now commonplace. They want to export it even against our culture. There's no African culture that supports or will tolerate this kind of things. But they have used their normal tactics, threats, intimidation, aid, and other things to threaten some countries. Some countries have succumbed. They are not speaking against it. They are not making laws against it. Some countries have come up. Of course, Nigeria is in the forefront. Nigeria has passed stringent laws against LGBTQ. Uganda have done the same thing. Kenya has done the same thing. But they are suffering the consequences of standing up to the West on this issue. Now, if you sign an agreement that says before you draw these funds, these are the protocols, these are the kind of things, it's almost the same thing, the equivalent of IMF conditionalities. Before you assess our loans, this is how you are going to pass these laws, you are going to implement these policies in your economy. So it is an equivalent part of it. Before you assess the loans, this 150 billion loan, these are the things we want you to do in your country, among which is legalize the LGBTQ.
Yeah, you are right. Go ahead. You are correct. LGBTQ.
Let me just put it that way. So it is a continuing pressure. It's another way to bring pressure to bear on African countries. By going ahead to sign, you know that we can say 100% Nigerian people are against this this kind of thing.
I don't know, something is wrong with your sound just suddenly went off. Can you
hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes. Like I said, Nigerians are overwhelmingly against any legalization of LGBT. But do we trust our government?
No.
Not to pass laws that will repeal the laws that are on the books on this. We woke up one day, it was almost within a period of 48 hours that they passed the bill in the National Assembly to change the national anthem.
Honestly,
Nigerians were
yeah,
not
correct. That's
consulted.
it.
It was not subjected to debate. And the only reason they gave is that Tinubu wants the old national anthem. And within the day, the National Assembly, both chambers passed the law. So are we very confident that one day we will not wake up because these people are desperate to get money? That assuming out of that 150 million, billion, they promised Nigeria $10 billion out of it as loans. Are we sure our president will not pressure the National Assembly to pass it? And they will explain it away where even if the laws are repealed, nobody is being forced to become. That is the way they will explain it.
Yeah.
So the better option is not to have anything to do with such arrangements in the first place. We should not be that desperate. After all, when these monies are taken, they are again embezzled. There's no guarantee that they will even be put to judicious use.
Yeah, but that you see that this is the reason why they are not taking this loan out of patriotism. They are not doing all they are doing. They are not doing it out of patriotism, because if they were doing it out of patriotism, they will not jeopardize anything that has to do with Nigeria's interests. They are doing it because the moment they get this loan, just like the both of you said, they embezzle it. It's for their personal. What they look at the moment the issue of loan appears, what they see, the picture they have in their mind is how much goes to them, how much is coming to me, and how much is going to the other person. The picture that is in their mind is not the picture of patriotism. How and what can this project execute, or this money, what project can this money achieve, execute? That is the unfortunate answer. And because of that, because it is about selfishness here, because all the loans they sought for are based on selfish reasons, they will always cave to the conditions, no matter, regardless of how stringent, how bad that condition is, that is tied to such loans. They will cave. They cave into that. That's just the truth. That's an unfortunate thing. And just like you noted, this thing may come through back door. We have known the style of Tinubu. Tinubu, this is what he does now. Like I said, no president has ever been in control, in conspicuous, very glaring control of the National Assembly as President Tinubu. This is just barely, okay, not barely. It's 1 year now, a little bit above 1 year into office. We noticed this long ago. So you can imagine, about 1 year into his administration, this man is in the National Assembly is within the clutches of his hands. This is bad for and anyway, this is another discussion for another day. A discussion for another day. I don't know. This is what we call democracy. This is one of the reasons why I hate. One of the reasons why I just hate democracy. Now, what is the difference between this one and military? A system where the president is in control of the National Assembly. So where is the separation of power? This man is in control of the judiciary. It's in control of the National Assembly. No more separation of power. What makes it different from the military? Anyway, we'll bring this topic, we'll treat it another day because it's a very, very expansive topic. So this is the point. This is how this man operates. We all know how he operates. He comes in with something. The moment he allows anything to filter into the public, give it 1 or 2 days, that thing is done already. Unlike the usual thing in the past is that was when government wants to do something, they just send it out to the public to gauge the public mood on that particular thing. And it takes weeks and months sometimes. Sometimes it goes into the next year or whatever before they finally pass it through, and it goes through the usual process. But in the case of Tinubu, no, anything, if it has to do with government policies, he just wakes up in the morning and the next thing is, this thing is done. You only hear the rumor today, the next day is done. No, government is not run, this shouldn't be run in such a manner. It shouldn't be run as if it's even if it's your private company self. Private company self, you bring the matter out with the board at the board meeting where you discuss issues and policies or whatever, and you deliberate. Even if you are the owner of the company, you have or whatever, you seek advice. People, your subordinates will advise you. But in the case of I don't know. This man is running he's running the company, he's running the country as his family, not even business. Even business is not run this way. Businesses are not run this way, not talk of an entire country, an entity, for God's sake. So that is the point. This is actually my fear. While it is not signed into law, we know how Tinubu behaves, how he administers things, and because he is under blackmail from the West, he may be he may do so many things under desperation, just as he's been doing, sort of. So that is just, it's so sad that Nigeria, like I said earlier, our junior brothers in other part of Africa have publicly and aggressively rejected this. And Nigeria is welcoming it just because of what? I don't even know what's going on with all these loans. So many loans, for God's sake. Why do we keep... I never hear this is becoming so... I don't know how to call it, so irritating. You wake up every day, you hear Nigeria is borrowing so amount. The other day, borrow so amount. With what resources? Do we have endless resources? Do we have unlimited resources that we really depend on to actually borrow all this, take all these loans? I don't get it. What? I can't even count. I've lost count of loans that are either in the process or have been approved or have been disbursed to us. Honestly, I've lost count. What are we? Why are we not questioning this issue of loan that we keep collecting loans and loans? Anybody, any institution or global institution that is out to give us, we just go collect loan for what? Why are these loans becoming rampant, for God's sake? Why are we people? Why can't... This is so sad, honestly. Shegun, do you have anything to say, add to what you said? If you don't, we'll move to the next topic.
No, I don't. I think we've exhausted it, and the prayer will be that at the end of the day, it is not signed. If it has been signed before, I pray that it is reversed, because if we fail on any of the conditions that is signed, we will be the ones that will be under pressure. The government is supposed to be responsible to the citizens, and vice versa. But unfortunately, like you have said, we seem to have a government that is dictatorial. All they want to do is to tell us what they want to do and go ahead and do it without asking us if it is right or not. Even if you fight person and you go slap him, you go ask him first. Yeah, I go slap you before you go ahead. But unfortunately, it's just the system. Nigeria is not a crime scene. Nigeria itself is a crime. And that's one of the reasons why we are having all of these issues.
Nigeria is not a crime scene. Nigeria is a crime. I love that. And that is just the reality. I think that's a good way to end your contribution on this topic. All right. Let's go.